born and conceived inside of a hot tub in Florida.
G'day and welcome to Treasures of Our Town podcast, where we take you on our journey around USA without ever leaving the comfort of your own home or car. Each episode will transport you to a new destination, exploring the sights, sounds, and tastes that make each place unique.
Whether you're a seasoned traveler or simply dreaming of your next adventure, join us as we share insider tips, fascinating stories, and inspiring experiences from the road. So sit back, relax, and let your imagination take flight as we embark on our next journey together.
Oh, isn't that a nice intro, Josh?
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe it?
Well done.
This is episode number 1.
Episode number 1. We are here. Can we believe it? Now, I can't remember. Did we actually write that intro, or did we let the robots write it for us?
Well, I actually let the robots write it for us this morning, just before.
Hey, we got to start somewhere, right?
We really do. We really do.
I have never been a part of hosting a podcast before, so I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. However, Craig,
yes,
you have hosted your own podcast before, so
yes, I have.
I'm totally leaning on you and all your amazing, wonderful expertise.
Oh, wow. Well, firstly and foremost, welcome to everyone listening out there in your cars or on your sofas or couches or lounges, whatever you like to call them. Wherever you are, grab a beverage. Make sure it's either hot or cold. Mine's actually hot. I've got a hot cup of coffee with me this morning, Josh. What have you got?
I've got a hot cup of coffee with some creamer in it. It is oh so delicious, and hopefully will make my voice sound oh so smooth.
Delicious for an American, I bet. With your creamers. I still can't believe it. But anyway, getting on with the show. Episode number 1, Josh. This, you know what? This is going to sound a bit sort of bit narcissistic, if you like, but this is all about us, this episode 1. We've got to introduce people. Yeah, we've got to introduce people to who we are. If they don't know who we are, we've got to introduce them to who we are.
Exactly. They need to know who we are. They need to know what this podcast is about. I mean,
yep.
They want to know. They want to know, should they be clicking that subscribe button? And the answer is yes. Yes, they should.
Absolutely. Or we'll start with you, Josh. Just tell us a quick background about yourself. If people don't know you, who you are, where you're from, what you do, that sort of thing, and we'll get a start.
Okay. My name is Joshua Johnson. On the internet, I'm known as the Geocaching Vlogger, and we'll talk a little bit about geocaching a little bit later, but I am a YouTube creator. That's what I'm known for on the internet, but I'm also a husband, a dad, and a public speaker. For my day job, I actually am sort of like a motivational speaker, but not like live in the van down by the river type of public motivational speaker. And I've been on YouTube creating YouTube videos for over 12 years.
I saw that.
Yeah. It's a long time. It's a long time. And one of the things that I love about, first of all, the hobby of geocaching, which we'll get to in a little bit, and creating videos is the wonderful places that geocaching takes you. And I love travel. And that is sort of the passion behind Treasures of Our Town.
Exactly right. And we'll get into that in a second in terms of how we come about this particular podcast and how it was born. But for those people who don't know me, my name is Craig. My YouTube name is Seemyshell, or the Aussie geocacher Seemyshell. You can see that there's geocaching. Yes, that's how we met, Josh and I, was through the lovely hobby of geocaching. But I too am a traveller, and obviously by my voice, I am not from the good old US of A. No,
You're not?
No, I'm from Australia.
What?
People actually ask me, where am I from? Like, then they think I'm from Great Britain, sometimes New Zealand. I even get South Africa here, Josh. But no, I'm over here now, living in the good old US of A, with my US of A wife, whom I met on my very first trip across USA back in 2018, I think it was.
And you met her at a geocache.
A Giga event. Well, at actual, after the Giga event, where I met you, I met her the next day. So I met you face-to-face in person on that day. The very next day, I met my now wife. So that's an amazing story just there.
So you're in New Jersey right now. I forgot to tell the people where I'm from. I'm from
Chile.
Right now, the cold, chilly, snowy, great Midwestern plains of Minnesota. I'm from the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, which, by the way, is a great place to travel to. Maybe not in the month of February, March, but it is a beautiful place to live, and I've lived here pretty much my whole life. So I forgot that part because my name isn't Joshua, the Minnesota geocaching vlogger, like yours is like the Aussie geocacher.
That's right.
So that's not in my branding.
No, not at all. Mind you, Josh, I did see this morning, are you in single-digit figures Fahrenheit there this morning?
Oh, of course. Of course.
Wow.
So that's very normal. It's a normal day here. It's a normal March day. Yeah, we just had St. Patty's Day. There is, if you look out my window right now, there is absolutely no green at all out my window right now.
See, now if you look at my window, and I'm in New Jersey. New Jersey do get snow often as well, but this year I've had one flurry day of snow. Flurry, that's it.
Lucky
we've
you.
We've got green, we've got flowers that are blooming at the moment as well. You know, like the spring flowers are coming out now already. Down near the seaside, the Jersey Shore.
Speaking of seaside,
Yes.
I think we need to tell them what is the genesis, what is the birth story, what is the origin story of this podcast that you're listening to right now, Treasures of Our Town, because it was born, let's just say it was born by the sea.
It really was. We were wet at the time when it was born too, Josh. Do you remember it?
Yeah. We were wet. This podcast was born and conceived inside of a hot tub in Florida.
It sounds wonderful.
It sounds weird. I'm just
really
going to say
does.
it sounds weird, but it's not weird because,
No.
you have to start somewhere, right?
Exactly. Well, let's be honest, Josh, as well. The actual idea of you and I getting together to do a podcast itself was come about from a fake podcast that we attempted to launch, so to speak, called Under the Lamppost. You remember that?
Yes. About this time last year, April 1st, we started our podcast. Yeah, this actually isn't my first podcast. This is my second podcast.
Yeah.
Because
Even though,
it was a fake podcast, but it was a real fake podcast.
yeah, it was only one episode podcast, but it was a podcast.
Who's to say that they're not more episodes and they only come out once a year, Craig?
Exactly. But in saying that, though, this one isn't. This one here, this episode, is going to be every second week on Monday morning, Eastern, 9 a.m. That's when we're going
Thank
to publish.
goodness, because let's be honest, Monday mornings, they could be a little rough. And when you have something to look forward to download for your commute, or if you're sitting at your desk or wherever you're listening to this, Monday mornings, perfect time to have a new podcast come out.
It really is. Now, we spoke about this in the hot tub in Florida, and you were very apprehensive about everything. You were like, I don't know. Do I have the time? You've never done it before, so you didn't know what was the back end of hosting a podcast is going to be like.
Yeah, I was nervous. But before I say that, I was excited about the idea of it.
Yeah.
Because, as I've said before, I really believe that our wonderful activity and hobby of geocaching and munzee,
Yeah.
it's location-based games. And where do location-based things take you? To locations.
And let's be honest, sometimes obviously the locations are going to be sort of, under a lamppost in a parking lot sort of thing, and they're not so good. But predominantly most of the times when you are out geocaching or at a good munzee location, they take you to places where the general public do not normally go to if you're a tourist.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
And they take you to communities sometimes that are
Yes.
not always highlighted.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of travel, maybe podcast or YouTube channels, they focus on the big, some sort of touristy spots.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the great things about our hobbies is that it sometimes takes you to those smaller communities, because within every little smaller community, if you talk to the locals there, you realize there are hidden treasures there. There's history there. There's great places to eat. There's great people to meet. And so as we were in the hot tub, I was thinking, Craig, I think if I would ever start a podcast, it would be a podcast about travel, about exploring hidden places, maybe off the beaten path, some of those things that maybe people just drive by or fly over country that our hobby has brought us. So I want to say the idea wasn't necessarily a geocaching podcast.
No, it's got geocaching / munzee / location based gaming in general, because there are other games out there as well.
Yeah.
That they've got that little sprinkling of it, but predominantly this is going to be a travel podcast.
Yeah. So this podcast is not necessarily a geocaching or location-based game related, but I would say, Craig, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Hopefully we're on the same page. We've been on the same page a lot. Is that this podcast, our travel is guided by our hobby of geocaching, munzee.
Exactly. Well, we were in Florida in that hot tub because of munzee. We were recently. We were over in California because of munzee as well. We went to Yuma, Arizona because of geocaching.
Yes.
So we go to those places, and this is you and I together.
Yeah.
So yeah, we go to these places because of these outdoor games that we play, but at the same time, I can say now, like in Yuma especially, those peanut butter beers that we had, and I think we were with Barsky, they were delicious. You know, those are the things, those are the memories you have. It's not just about finding a hidden container or scanning a QR code. It's more about meeting up with friends, you know, getting outdoors, having fun, exploring new locations. But as I said, that peanut butter beer, that chocolate peanut butter beer, oh yes. See, I still got that on my taste buds, and yet here I am. It's 18 months later, 2 years later.
Yes, and you're still talking about it. You're still thinking about it, and those things deserve to be shared. And just like anything, like I do, as far as my motivation for putting anything out into the world, as far as social media content, is to inspire people to realize that there is more out there to explore, more to see. And I do it through the hobby of geocaching, but it's because of geocaching that I've had peanut butter beer. It's because of geocaching and munzee that I've discovered the Wizard of Oz Museum in Cocoa Beach. Really, we could go on and on. And our hope is to be able to share those things with you all. And who knows, maybe you will book a flight to Norfolk, Nebraska. You may never have thought about going to Norfolk, Nebraska, but because you heard it here and you heard about my adventure, Craig, or our adventures together, you might be like, you know what? I think I'm going to find the treasure in that town.
Exactly. And that's what this podcast is about. So we're going to be focusing upon towns only in the US at the moment until we get a bigger budget, Josh.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say we're currently in debt. Like, not personally. This podcast, we're already in debt.
Yeah, I know. But that's what happens when you start up something like this as well. So, because that's how we got started with this. You come up with this idea of the podcast in the hot tub, and that was all fun and games. That was all well and good, but you were nervous about it. And then all of a sudden, like what is it, like a month later, you received a beautiful microphone in the mail from me. So, come on, Josh, let's go. Pull your finger out. We'll get started.
I'm not sure I even agreed or actually said yes. Maybe I did. If I did, it might have been after a few beers in the hot tub.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
It was. Miller High Life, too.
We were living the high life in the hot tub. And then all of a sudden, 2 months later, a microphone shows up at my house. And it's like, oh, remember that podcast? We're doing it. And I was like, okay, sounds good.
Exactly. So, but as I said, as we were saying before, Josh, that this podcast itself is not just about the outdoor gaming itself. We were actually going to show people what traveling has shown us when we travel.
Yes.
What can we do? We're going to do some shows like a top 10 style, you know, top 10 places to be, or top 10 big things, for instance. I saw that on our list as well.
Okay, can we stop right there?
Oh, yeah.
I am a huge fan of roadside attractions.
Yes.
I love, like, the world's biggest rocking chair in Casey, Illinois. I love the Jolly Green Giant that stands 55 feet tall in southern Minnesota.
You just did the anvil as well. There was a big anvil somewhere.
Yeah, there's a giant anvil in Gilby, North Dakota. These places, I want to do we could do mini episodes on just like one thing. Like why is the Jolly Green Giant in Blue Earth, Minnesota? Like that would be so much fun. And actually, Craig, I was just thinking about this. Mm-hmm. There's a woman that I follow on Instagram, and she has a Instagram account called Silly America, and her whole Instagram account is about traveling to big things or roadside attractions. Great. Wouldn't it be great if we're going to have guests, right, from time to time?
Yeah,
we could have her on and say, what are your top 10 best roadside attractions? There's the United States is so big, the possibilities are limitless.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that sort of idea. We're going to also do some tips and tricks. I'll start that again. Tips and tricks for your travel.
Tough to say, tips and tricks.
I know, travel tips and tricks. Wow, that's hard. So you can let us basically be your tour guide.
Why not?
Exactly. Why
Craig,
not?
I'm going to put you on the spot right now because we got to. This is the introduction, but we got to provide. We got to provide value, right?
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Top of your head, your best travel tip or trick. Go.
Oh wow! This is you've got me now.
We're off script.
Wow. We are totally off script. It's now gone.
I got one. I got one. If you want me to think about it.
For me personally, no, I got one straight off the bat, and that it is preparation. Preparation is key for me. So the travel tip would be, say for instance, I'm actually currently in the process, Josh, of researching some places to go and see and what to go and see in Cape Town, South Africa.
Wow.
So so we're looking. But my wife and I are looking at doing it towards the end of the year, and that's what I've been doing. So research and planning and preparation is for me the biggest key to your travel.
That's great.
What about you? You tell me what you got.
Some people know this, other people don't know. But when riding in a plane on the aisle seat, you have that. You have the aisle armrest, right? And that thing doesn't move up. And a lot of people don't know. And some of you might be listening like, duh, Josh, everybody knows that. No, not everybody knows that because I put a video on TikTok about it and it was mind-blowing, all right? But underneath that armrest is a button. There's a little button. You press the button and the armrest can actually go up.
Yeah.
Give yourself a little more room on that long flight.
Exactly, especially when you got a big butt like someone like myself. it's a lot handy. I knew that one, Josh. I knew that one because I've travelled to and from Australia and America on those long haul flights several times over the past few years, and during COVID times as well, especially. It was a great tip because there was no one traveling during COVID times, and I was traveling back and forward. At sometimes, Josh, in the middle seats, I'd have all 4 middle seats to myself.
Wow! And
so I'd put all the armrests up, and I've got a lay flat bed. The only problem was at that time was that the air stewards still wanted us to sort of make sure we buckled up, so I had to try and buckle up and then twist the belt so I could lay down. Anyway, that's another story.
So
I digress.
So there you go. We're already providing value.
Exactly. This show as well, we can make friends on this show.
Why not?
Yeah. We became friends through this world of geocaching.
Yes, we did.
And for those of you who don't know, because we do get asked a couple of times how you and I actually met, and it was basically when I first started geocaching, I was a newly single dad. And I had my 2 kids as well. And we were going out geocaching. And then after the day of geocaching, we'd come home. While I'm cooking dinner, I would hear your voice playing on my iPad from my son watching your video.
Let me guess. Did it sound like this? Hey, guys, it's Joshua, the Geocaching Vlogger. And we're going to head out on a great adventure today.
It really did. Yeah. Actually, it wasn't as lively back then. It was more subdued.
It was?
You've become more lively as you get
I have? I thought I've kind of mellowed out as I've gotten older.
I love your first ever video.
Oh, no, that one is,
that was the best.
That's horrible, and we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Well, that's your first video, Josh, you see? And like this is our first podcast, so really we're going to look back at this podcast and go, oh, Josh, that was horrible.
Yeah. Right now, you are all listening to the worst of the treasure of our town.
Yes,
this is the worst one.
This is the worst it's going to get, so it's only going to get better for me. If that doesn't make you hit the subscribe button, I don't know what will. If you want to hear us get better, then keep on listening.
right.
So that's how I heard of you. Basically, was through your YouTube channel, and then a few years go by, and of course, kids grow up and they get too cool for geocaching and whatnot as well. So they sort of moved on, but I didn't. I was addicted. I had the bug, and I was still following you at the time. You then brought out this thing called Patreon.
Yes.
And I was your number one.
You were.
Patreon. Yeah.
Craig was the very first person to support the Geocaching Vlogger on Patreon. And I'm not sure it's because he loves me the most or if he was just awake because he lived in Australia and everybody else was going to sleep.
Yes.
Maybe. I don't know. But you are.
No, I think I was awake.
Yeah, you were still.
That's what it was.
You're still supporting me on Patreon.
Absolutely, haven't stopped. Haven't stopped since then. Well, speaking of Patreon, Josh, we've got a Patreon.
We do.
We weren't going to mention this, but I'll quickly say we do. We've got a Patreon, and we already after 24 hours we've got 3 members. And can I say that our first?
Oh,
one,
you got to shout them out. That they decided to support us before we made anything almost. anything at all. And our number 1 is Motorimba. Oh,
do you remember him?
Oh, I love that guy.
That guy
cool was that? Makes some amazing geocaches in Long Island, and because of him, I can't wait to go to Long Island again to find more of his geocaches. And he's just a super nice guy. So thanks, Jamie.
So, Josh, we've also got 2 others as well. So there's 3 in total. We've got Kayleen, and I do believe her geocaching name is No Angel, and she's from Australia.
Oh, awesome.
And then we have, I think you know this guy, Da Truck. Remember Dan Truck?
Yes, I know Dan.
Yes,
from
Pennsylvania.
Another great guy, geocacher. Yeah. And that's amazing. Thank you so much.
It really is. It really is.
We are on our way. And I was joking that we're in debt, but the only reason we're in debt is because you're listening to these beautiful brand new microphones. Yeah. I mean, we thought, a good podcast has to have quality sound, right?
That's right. Good audio. It needs good audio. Yeah. Because people aren't, and this is the thing with us, you're not going to watch us at this point in time live. This is all pre-recorded podcast. It'll be edited and audio only. Let's be honest, Josh. They've seen our ugly mugs, in other means, like on YouTube and everything else as well. So this one here is just for their ears.
Oh, yeah. If they want to see our faces, there's plenty of places to see our faces. But I do appreciate that I got up this Sunday morning and I didn't have to blow dry my hair like I normally do. Oh, Craig has seen my morning routine. It's very extensive, especially for my
long. I thought like, this is I'm on my second marriage now, and so I've had 2 wives, both of which combined are shorter than you when they're combined getting ready in the morning.
Wow. And
can I just quickly, a quick story for everyone as well while we're out there, because we do have a little bit of time. On our recent trip to California, Josh and I, and we were with another good friend, Tim, Minnesota boy, and Josh wakes up from the first night in California, and we were there, and he's hustling around everywhere like a little mouse, and we're like, "What's wrong with Josh?" And then he starts getting upset. I can't find a blow dryer. Can you believe it? I can't find a blow dryer. I'm like, who is this? Is this a guy? Like, what the? He wants to blow dry. What's he going to blow dry? His hair? Yep. And here you are. You go, I can't find a blow dryer, and you're getting cranky.
Well, come on now. Here's another tip for you out there. If you ever choose to be an Airbnb host, you gotta have a hair dryer.
Yeah.
Every hotel has a hair dryer. Every Airbnb should. This one did not.
An iron as well. I'll just say, let's be honest. If you're going to go what they should have, and they should have an iron as well, because every hotel has an iron. But we should have known, Josh, because the hand soap in the bathroom was dish soap.
Yes, that Airbnb was clearly managed by, I don't know.
Someone.
It was somebody that clearly did not have maybe an eye for detail.
Exactly. Now, that's another thing that people can expect on this podcast, Josh, is we're going to talk about these things. We're going to talk about where we stayed, the types of Airbnbs we stay at. Because predominantly we don't actually stay. We're not hotel guests, really. We're Airbnb guests. We like to support the mum and pop sort of shop sort of things. So we're going to talk about Airbnbs. We're going to talk about where we eat when we travel. We're going to talk about where we drink when we travel.
Yes.
So that's a lot of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I totally want to say, too, you and I are generally positive people, and we're going to be totally honest about everything that we share, but we're really
100%.
going to highlight the best, right? And we will...
Yeah.
Every travel experience, I'm sure, has some negatives, some things that aren't so great. But I'd rather spend time here talking about the great things that we experience rather than maybe some of the negative things that we encounter.
Exactly. Unless those negative things, a bit humorous, like you not finding a hairdryer.
It's a big deal.
I like it.
Well, Craig,
exactly.
I remember the first time I encountered you. You reached out to me via email and you asked about this app that I don't think even exists anymore called Keedle. Do you remember that?
Oh,
remember?
I did.
I just unlocked a memory for you. And basically what this app did was that you could create like an adventure for somebody, or you could set a location, and the person couldn't open up a message until they got to a certain location. Yes. And I think you were setting up some sort of date or something like that.
Exactly right. I did. I set up a multi-stage, like a multi-waypoint, I should say, multi-waypoint location-based date for. She was a geocacher at the time as well, and so I got her to sort of travel up and down the main street where I was. The whole time I was actually sitting in the restaurant watching her walking up and down the street like a stalker. And then she found out the main location, because I'd never told her at all where I was taking her on it. That was my first date. Didn't tell her where it was. All I said was what she should wear and gave her GPS coordinates to her first clue. That was a great app.
That's very creative and very stalkerish.
I know, right? I don't think I recorded it. Well, actually, I did. I think I got a video out there.
That's funny.
I did.
Is it still on your channel?
You did unlock one. It is. It is. On my YouTube channel, the Aussie Geocacher Seemyshell, it goes back a few years now. I'm talking, that'll be 8 years ago, Josh.
Wow. Do we have show notes? Can people click on things that we share on here? Or?
Yes, they can. They'll be in the show notes, and our show notes will be on our website. Our website is treasuresofourtown.buzzsprout.com.
Nice.
So, or you can just Google Treasures of Our Town podcast, and we should come up.
So we mentioned the Keedle app, but a lot of people that might be listening, maybe not initially, I'm guessing probably when this comes out, most of the people that will listen to it for the first time, they probably either know who we are, they probably know about geocaching or munzee.
Yeah.
But, they're years from now, we might still be doing this, and people want to go to the very beginning, and we're talking about this hobby, activity, obsession called geocaching. I think it's important. Let's give them just a little bit of a primer of what exactly we're talking about.
So geocaching, to me, is a location-based game where you get coordinates to go to a location to find a hidden container of sorts. Predominantly, that is geocaching. So it's like a real-life treasure hunt in my mind. Obviously, there's other avenues around when it comes to virtual caches and webcams and all these other types. But predominantly, that's what it is. In my mind, it's like a virtual treasure hunt.
Yeah. I like to call it a scavenger hunt rather than treasure hunt because let's be honest, people think treasure, they think they're going to arrive there and have great loads of cash that they will find.
Well, it's called geocaching and people assume it's cash like money.
Yeah.
But it's
or jewels or treasures. And the cool thing about geocaching is, the locations it brings you. So
that's right.
I've learned
the people you meet.
The people you meet. I've learned about a lot of cool places locally, like neat parks that I never even knew about because of geocaching. So if you're listening to this and you're like, that sounds interesting, I always tell people, download the official free geocaching app, create yourself a free account, open it up, and just take a look and see what's around you.
Exactly. And if you want more information on any of this, I've actually got a full tutorial on my YouTube channel as well, like tutorials in terms of from how to start, how to download the app, even how to place one yourself when you want to at the time as well. What best there is, how to get GPS coordinates. That's all on my YouTube channel in terms of tutorials of how to geocache. So
That's fantastic.
yeah. You show your channel mostly shows the excitement and the locations and the value, whereas mine is more tutorial based. But in saying that, people have asked me, and I'm going to go off a little bit off script again here, Josh. People have asked me why I've been so absent on social media. And if you don't know me, then I am an ex-police officer in Australia, and I had a lot of mental health issues going back 18 months ago, Josh, and that's when I sort of stopped with my social media stuff. I stopped YouTube videos. I stopped a lot of things. And I'll put this out there as well. If anyone is out there listening to this and you do have issues with mental health, whatever it might be, mine personally is PTSD. And I turned Josh, I turned to geocaching and I turned to munzee to get me outside, get fresh air. Listen to me, I'm cracking up. It's still there. It is still there. And I'm still, fighting the good fight, but I'm still getting outside. I'm still getting fresh air in my lungs. I'm still getting sunshine on my skin, all because of these two games. And I do believe that in some way, these two games that we play, it saved a lot of heartache for me, if not the worst, just saying.
That is,
so anyway,
that is so awesome.
Let's get back out of that,
Craig,
out of that hole.
Thank you for sharing that. And that's what this is all about, right? It's all about getting outside, because a lot of people, when they struggle with that, sometimes they go within and they actually physically stay within their own house. And the value of just getting outside and exploring and having something like a silly, I'm putting silly in quotations, a silly game can be just that thing to jumpstart and get into a better mental health state. So
it's absolutely true. And I would have been like that. I would have stayed inside. But hadn't it have been for the hobbies in which we play, and also I'll put a shout out there as well to my close friends, because I was in a little town at the time in I'm starting to get this is what happens with part of this PTSD stuff, is I start to stutter a little bit whenever I get sort of emotions, but I'll try and keep it light. The friends that I've made through this hobby of ours that were in my little town at the time, they took me under their wings. We went out geocaching together. So they literally picked me up from my house, and I couldn't say no, because they knew I was inside, and they come and bash down the door and drag me out. You know what I mean? So it's not just the hobby itself, but it's the friends and people that you make, and the friends you make playing this game or games that really do help as well. Yeah. Help a lot, and including yourself, Josh, too.
And that is so true. I'm one that doesn't mind solo travel. I'm actually an introvert, kind of by wiring, but some of the best experiences I've had traveling are when you're able to share it with others, because there's sometimes I've been traveling alone and I'm thinking, gosh, at this moment, I really wish I had somebody to share it with. And so a part of this is to talk about, sharing travel together. And that's really cool. And I guess I just bring that up because I just had so much fun traveling with you.
Yeah, we did. And that's what we're going to talk about with the actual podcast itself. Now, we'll get back to the Patreons. What are Patreons going to get? And I know we weren't going to talk about it, but we've spoken about it a few times. They're not actually going to get anything physical, our Patreons. It's all going to be digital for them. Yes. But there is going to be a lot of value. They're going to get, they're going to get input, Josh. They're going to get input into this show.
Yeah.
What
do you want us to talk about?
Exactly.
Where do you want us to go?
Where do you want us to talk about? Where do you want us to go? Can you imagine that? Like, our future travels are going to be based upon a group of people that, that support us and say, oh, you come to my town. I'll pay you money. You come to my town.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah. We might have to have it be multiple choice, right? So you could go here or you could go here. That's right. That could be, that'll be a lot of fun.
Exactly. We might do some, in the end as well, in a couple of months, we might do some live hangouts with them too.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not? Some Q&As, that sort of thing. So that's, and also maybe some mini episodes that for Patreons only.
Why not?
So, yeah, exactly.
You've led, during the pandemic, you led some like game nights too, like trivia.
Yes. Trivia nights.
Yeah.
Some geocaching trivia nights. That were great.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. Like I've still got all my questions and stuff. And actual fact, one of our good friends, Scott Burks from the Geocaching podcast, he reached out to me knowing that I was doing them, and I did a few for him on his channel as well. So
That's really cool.
yeah, that's really cool. So Josh, where can people find us if like social media wise? Where can they find us in regards to if they want to contact us in any way, that sort of thing? Where do you think?
Yeah, if you'd like to reach out with us for any reason, any ideas, or just want to communicate with us, the best way is email. And you simply just go to treasuresofourtownpodcast@gmail.com. And then we also have social media. I believe there'll be a YouTube channel. Is that there yet or no?
Yeah, the YouTube channel.
Oh, it is there. And
yeah, it's there
so
already,
can people actually listen to the podcast on YouTube?
Yes, they can.
Fantastic.
Yep.
We have Instagram. We're going to have a Facebook, and we can be found on all your podcasting apps.
Every single one. And if you can't find us on a podcasting app, make sure you message us and let me know, because I'm the one that's pushing it out to all of them, and I'll try and get it to the podcast app of your choice.
Let's be honest. Craig is going to do all the legwork.
I'm all the back end, and Josh is just a pretty face.
A pretty face that will not be seen because it's a podcast.
No, because he doesn't want to blow dry his hair. So, Josh, that's it for the show for today.
That's it? We're
it.
done?
We're done. So this is a good, 35, 40-minute episode, which is perfect. And these are going to be roughly the times that we're going to have as well. We're going to try and stick to 45-minute episodes max. I think that's a good time. Do you?
Yeah, I think that's great. My commute is about 30 minutes one way, so I'm looking forward to listening to myself.
You can just talk to yourself.
I just want to relive it again. I can't wait to be able to relive it again when this is published.
Exactly. So whatever app you are listening to us to right now, feel free to subscribe, rate, and review on any of your favorite podcasting apps. And as always, Josh,
may your travels always lead you to the most unexpected and amazing hidden gems around the world. We'll see you next time. Bye.
bye.